All right. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us here again today. My name is Jessica Hayes, and I'm the Work-Based Learning Coordinator with Alignment Rockford. We are here with our weekly sessions for live YouTube panels. Today, I have with me two gentlemen that are going to talk to us about apprenticeship programs and what apprenticeship programs are available here in our area. I also have Anissa Kuhar, who is with Rockford University. She is the Director of Adult and Graduate Admissions. She is going to assist me as well today. Thank you, Anissa, for being here. I have with me today Paul Nolley. He is the Executive Director of Project First Rate. I also have Dutch Hink. He's the Apprenticeship Admin for Rock River Valley Tooling and Machining Association. So thanks for being here with me today. And Paul, let's go ahead and we'll start with you. We're going to ask a couple questions about your current career and how you got here today. And then we're going to, towards the end, really get into questioning about the apprenticeship programs and what Project First Rate does. So if you can give us name, title, and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much for having me today, and good to be here. My name is Paul Nolley, and as you mentioned, I am the director of an organization called Project First Rate, and in this role, I represent our union contractors and union trades in Northern Illinois. And as far as my path to getting into this role and the general career, it really started with internships that I had working for nonprofit organizations about a little over 10 years ago. And just kind of got me involved in work that is aimed at bettering our community, helping our fellow man and woman. And so I just really was inspired in that way. And so I've had a career in the nonprofit sector for a while, doing fundraising, advocacy, just nonprofit management, kind of general things. And so when this opportunity came up to go for this role of Project First Rate, which we are a nonprofit, and we promote all sorts of things within the industry, including apprenticeship programs, which we'll talk about, of course, today. It was a great fit just because I'm from a working class family. Fighting and working for things that are good for working people is really meaningful to me. And this is what I get to do in this role, as well as just inspiring others to join the field. So that's kind of in a nutshell how it all worked out.
Great. That's a really exciting story. And we can't wait to hear more about the apprenticeship programs that Project First Rate represents. Dutch, you want to give us a little bit about you, how you got here today, a little bit of what you do?
My name is Dutch Hink. I'm with the Rockford Valley Tooling and Machining Association. I got here in a roundabout kind of way. I started out by owning a company for 20 years. It was a machine shop, and I was having a hard time finding trained individuals, or better yet, there were none available because they're all working other places. So we started hiring younger employees and people from temporary services, and we put them through an apprenticeship program with the Rockford Valley Tooling and Machining Association. So we'd send them through the program, and then they were valuable employees. And I sold my business 4 years ago, and the position for admin came up, and I said, you know what? I like this program and it works. So let me do that job for you guys. And the board of directors said, sure, go ahead. That's how I got here.
That's great. And you also, what else do you also teach as well, correct?
I'm also an instructor at Jefferson. This is my federally funded machine shop.
Oh, wow. So, I can't wait to see that in person. I bet you the students can't either. That's awesome.
I've got about 50% of my students can still make it. And I just talked to a mother today who said, can my son come in? He's bored. And I said, yes, afternoons, we have labs open. And hey, when we're social distancing, we're wearing masks, we keep everything clean. We're running a very safe, tight ship here. And if students want to come in and work on the equipment, I'm not going to say no.
That's great, because those trades are very important, and getting them the experience on those machines is extremely exciting.
My philosophy is, if you come in and if you don't like doing it, don't ever do it again. But if you like doing it, then talk to Paul, talk to the other trades. If you like working with your hands and that, then this is the place to learn. If you break something, hey, at least you're not breaking some owner's property. It's something, most of the time, if you break something, we try and fix it here. So
that's awesome.
We get a lot of hands-on project-based learning.
That's awesome. Can you tell us, while we're talking about that, one other quick question about what you guys do is, can you tell us something that's a really cool project that you've either worked on in the past or maybe currently working on that you'd like to share with the students about a cool project?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, Jefferson set up an academy, and there's 3 courses that make up the production academy on the manufacturing side. I'm the manufacturing side. So the first thing you do is you come in here. We're going to teach you how to use a hacksaw. I mean, I just so happen to have prints like here. This looks nice and simple. Well, guess what? You're learning how to use a hacksaw. You're learning how to lay out. You're learning how to measure. You're learning how to do a lot of different things. And then we start making a box. We use a press brake. Then we use a shear. Then we use a spot welder. We put things together. Then the next class is Manufacturing 1, where we teach you a lot about lathes. You learn how to turn parts. Anything round is usually turned. You learn about materials. You learn again about measuring, micrometers, calipers. My teaching philosophy is, you know, if you know the basics here, somebody that's getting paid to be your boss doesn't have to tell you. So that means you're saving that guy time, and at the same time, you're more valuable as an employee. So I try and teach them the basics. I mean, measuring is huge. Calipers, tape measures, micrometers. We do that like the second year. First and second year, we're working on that. Third year, it's carte blanche. You got everything. We go into plasma cutting. We go into welding. We're getting into the mill. You're thinking 3D now, and you know, it's just neat stuff. So, you know, we make a lot of, you know, little baseball bats, nice little keychains. You get a lot of keychains out of this class, that's for sure.
You know, that's really exciting to hear that, because we hear from a lot of employers, especially in the manufacturing trades, is if they can read a blueprint, if they can do basic math, basic shop math, they can be successful in an entry-level position and then be trained to do more on that machine. So that's really exciting to hear for them to get that type of entry-level experience. Paul, do you want to tell us maybe a cool project that Project First Rate's working on, or maybe something you've done in the past or currently working on?
Yeah, absolutely. So a really cool example, and this was one of the first things that I got to really work on when I took on this role a little under a year ago, is the renovation of the Rockford Family Peace Center's new office, new facility, which is an organization that serves survivors and victims of domestic violence and things of that nature. And this organization started up, and they had an office, but they had a limited budget, and we're looking for some help with the carpentry and the HVAC and all that kind of stuff. So representing all of our trades in the area, what I got an opportunity to do was really coordinate the contributions of supplies, but primarily the labor, and very, knowing that it's from, apprentices and journeymen and women in our trades, the highest quality of craftsmanship that is out there in this area. It was really cool to line up the painters and the carpenters and the electricians and things to basically provide almost all of that in kind to support that work and get their office up and running. So that was just really meaningful and cool to me, because it was just kind of a cool thing to be involved with, but also just knowing that the end result of that was that this organization was going to be up and ready to serve our community. And also just another demonstration of the dedication and concern that our union trades and contractors, I should say, as well, made contributions as well to that project that they have for our community. They're invested here, they live and work in our area, and they care about people from all backgrounds and all situations that are going on. And of course, people going to those services are facing some rough situations. So that was a really cool thing that I got to work on. Or just kind of it combined all the things that we represent at Project First Rate, which is commitment to our community, but also high quality work, and having the contractors and trades, so labor and management, coming together to do good things. So that was a cool project, and we're really proud of the contributions that our members made to that.
That's the new facility downtown, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a very, very nice facility down there. That's a really awesome story. That's I think those are really good segues for you guys to really go in and talk about the programs. That's why we're here today, to really give the students the idea of what programs are available to them in apprenticeships, and what do those programs look like, and how do they get there. So Paul, if you want to give us, if you want to go on and tell us about Project First Rate and the different programs that you have there, and how students, what the options are.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned, Project First Rate, we represent 11 trade unions, anyone from bricklayers to carpenters to operating engineers. So really almost anything, any type of job or tradesperson you're going to find on a construction site. And we also represent the organizations or the companies that employ them. And so the the greatest parts of my jobs is really to go out and promote careers in the industry and really help students and others kind of rethink the way careers in the trades are seen and viewed and just addressed, I guess, for lack of a better word. And so really just for a quick kind of synopsis of what apprenticeship programs are, and then I'll talk more specifically about them. Apprenticeship program is another name for a training program, a formal training program that has a combination of in classroom work, so like you would get at a typical school, but also on the job and kind of a mock type of situations where you're in a training center doing things, and then you would get to actually go out on a job site and work with people who have been through the program. And typically a 3 to 5 year program, all paid for you, no debt, no tuition, and you're actually as an apprentice, you're making money right away and typically getting a pretty generous set of benefits as well. So again, there are apprenticeship programs for every trade that we represent, and if you want to become a bricklayer, if you want to operate heavy machinery, if you want to be a laborer, a carpenter, there's all sorts of routes to getting into those. Each trade is a little bit different in how you get into it, what the requirements are, what they look for, but there are some commonalities between all of them, and that's going to be you need to have a high school diploma or GED, you have to have reliable transportation, you generally want to have a basic level of math knowledge, some want a little bit more than that. Drug test is shared amongst all of those. And so they all take applications at different times and that kind of thing. And that's what Project First Rate helps coordinate, is kind of giving some of that information out. So, they can contact me, they can go to our new website that we're just going to be launching in a couple days here, actually, findyourtrade.org, have information there. We also have an apprenticeship guide that we print every year that's going to share all the information, all the contact information, the requirements about each of the apprenticeship programs. But really that's an entry into the career, and you're on a path tuition free to making $30, $40, $50 an hour. That's just your wage plus another $20, $30, $40 in benefits as well. So that's the entry point into the union trades. And again, it's a world-class type of training system that the trades have set up. And again, tuition free. You're earning as you're learning, and you get paid, and you get benefits, and you're learning a craft that you'll have for the rest of your life.
Can you give me that website one more time, Paul, so I can put it in the comments and chat function?
Absolutely. It's findyourtrade.org.
Find your trade. Awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And that's great. We're going to go to Dutch and have him talk about our VTMA. And then from there, we'll come back to you and talk about next steps. Where do they go to get started? So Dutch, you want to tell us a little bit about Rock River Valley Tooling and Machining Association's apprenticeship program?
Sure. Similar to the Project First Rate, we have apprenticeship programs. Our fields aren't in the buildings or construction trades. They're more in the manufacturing areas like tool and die, machinist, CNC operator. We also dabble in the metal fabricating industry, where you're welding boxes, making covers, all kinds of stuff like that. And then we also do machine rebuilding, or machine builder, which is the maintenance programs. So, similar to what Paul was mentioning, it's a 4-year program. You need to be employed with one of the sponsors. Someone sponsors you. They pay for it. We're in charge of the education side of it, the job-related education. The other part of it is on-the-job training. We'll get you 640 hours worth of schooling over 4 years. And then you work 8,000 to 10,000 on-the-job training hours. What you end up with is a journeyman's card that's recognized around the country. Our program is recognized pretty well. I mean, we have some people everywhere. And then, let's see, you get a certificate, you get a card, you get a medallion. More importantly, you get the title of a journeyman. I think it's all paid for. It's free, 4 years. Yeah. In and out. The average age is 28 years old. So if you're coming in at 18, think about it. In 10 years, you could be somebody else's boss, because we have 18-year-olds that are going through the program. You come out of the program at 22, and a lot of times the journeymen become managers. I mean, you know what you do. You get the respect of your ownership. You get the respect of the people you're working with. It's a big deal. I mean, it's important.
I think that's our, the goal of these panels is to really give our students and the knowledge of what options are out there. I know what different careers, what different areas can you get involved in. Maybe college isn't the number one thing for you, but this is something you could go down. You can join an apprenticeship program and really have a successful career by joining an apprenticeship program. It's really getting out there because there is a ton of apprenticeship programs offered in our area. And so it's really getting that information out there. And so they are aware of what options they have. So Paul, do you want to tell us what if I'm 16, 17, 18 years old, what are my next steps? What do I do next in order to engage into an apprenticeship program?
Absolutely. So a couple of things as far as the starting point. The first one and most general, I would say, is to make sure you're exploring. If you're interested and you could see yourself in the construction and the building trades, and again, there's a lot of diversity in the type of work that you can do in this field, but make sure you go out and you look at all of the trades that are out there. And there's about, in our area, we represent 11 as Project First Rate. There's about 17 that are represented in our local building trades council that each have apprenticeship programs and that kind of thing. So again, just to say, there's a lot of different options out there. So I would just say, make sure that you're taking a deep dive into the trades, understanding where you could see yourself for the long haul, right? You don't want to be a year or so into an apprenticeship program and realize then that trade is not a good fit for you. And so just get out there and understand, look at the options, just search YouTube. Our website's going to be a great resource for this. So this is kind of why we created it. So, go there, but there's a lot of other national type of information. You can look for other perspective or other, different folks as well, but just really figure out where you could see yourself. And I would recommend identifying, more than one. I would say like 2 or 3 where you could see yourself being, and that way, because these programs are competitive, each apprenticeship program is competitive. You're not guaranteed a spot. And there's a lot of people that pursue these careers just because you can make a really solid blue collar living off them. And kind of get a sense of where you could see yourself, and then figure out from there for each of those, what are the requirements? What do they look for? What is how does a successful applicant look like? And that's, we have some resources, the resources I mentioned. Make phone calls to the training center, to the local union that has the apprenticeship program. They're more than happy. They want their applicants to be successful, and they want to have good applicants. And even if it takes a little bit of time for you to be ready to be at that level, they want to be there to help you get to that. So just make sure you're asking questions, understanding what, if you need an algebra class, make sure that if you're still in high school and you can take that in the last year, that you're doing things like that. And just so that you're setting yourself up for success as you go forward. And sometimes it takes people a year, 2 years, sometimes maybe even more than that to get into a program, even after applying a couple of times, because maybe your math test wasn't as high as the next person. And so that year, so just do all of the things for yourself that you can get yourself up to the level that when you go to apply in whatever trade or multiple trades you're going to pursue, you're best set up for success. And that's where we as Project First Rate can help play a role in helping students and others understand what that means, connecting them to people in the training centers and in the unions that can provide them that additional information or support and that kind of thing. So those would just be some simple steps that you can take as you're looking forward in your career.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for all that guidance. And Dutch, do you want to add what are the next steps if somebody wants to join into our RVTMA or get involved with that at 16, 17, 18? Where do they go? What do they do?
Well, the first thing you might want to do is turn 18. That seems to be the age for a lot of insurance companies. But there are some companies that'll take a 17-year-old in and put them in like a tool room or shipping and receiving so that they get the flavor of the company. But once you know that that's what you're going to do, and you're working at some place that's puts apprentices through programs, then basically you talk to your HR, and they'll set you up with me, and we'll set you up with the classes. If you're starting right out of high school, or if you don't know where to go yet, basically you're just going to look on the website. You can go to the rrvtma.com website. And there's a members list. Every one of our members puts people through the apprenticeship program. So, basically you work for them. Some people wait a year, let you get your feet wet, let you understand what the company does. I mean, like Paul said, you don't want to be a year into the program and find out, I don't like this. Like here in high school, I love showing students how to use machines and the different things they can do. I mean, like I tell them, I said, I'm not here to show you how to make a specific thing. I'm here to show you how this piece of equipment works. You need to use your brain to figure out, hey, what do I use to make this work? And a lot of them pick up on that. There's some people that don't. So, you might be working for a company for about a year, and then that's Amir. He's working on one of the projects. What you do is, and it's distracting me. It's anyways.
I was going to say, you see him in the background.
He said he's bad. But anyways, you get to working at a company. You want to know if you like it or not, and then they want to know if you're going to be a good applicant or a good candidate for a journeyman's card. Because a lot of times, once you get that journeyman's card, you're going to be a dedicated employee. I mean, they're going to keep you busy. I mean, once you have a skill, okay, you can go and get a college education after that. And you can actually start making money for yourself with that skill. I mean, once you have a talent, you can't take the talent away. So the idea is to keep bettering yourself.
That's a really good point. Like once you have that talent, once you learn how to read a blueprint, you can't take that away. Once you learn how to machine something or, use a hammer, you can't take those talents away. And whether you use them in personal or professional life, it's always a talent that you're going to use. So Anissa, do you have any questions you would like to add to our panel here today? Hope you're on mute.
Can you hear me now? Very good. Okay, so just curious, is there a particular geographic area that you all serve, so to speak, in terms of where folks would work in terms of the different trades? How does that work? Just curious about that. Both Dutch and Paul.
I'm unmuted. Rock River Valley Tooling and Machining Association. We changed the name from Rockford Tooling Association to the Rock River Valley because we've got people down in Dixon. We have people from Janesville, people into Elgin that come to our program. So that's basically the area we serve.
Sometimes families have businesses and whatnot in different geographic areas. And so I thought perhaps maybe that might be something some of our students might be thinking about. So Paul, share as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So each trade has a different kind of map of their jurisdiction, but we represent all of our members are about 7 or 8 counties in this area. Pretty typically, it's going to be west of the Chicago area, but so there's some overlap there. But as far as on the job where a person would be working once, let's say they're an apprentice or they're a journeyman and they're on the job, they're in their trade, they're working. And this is something that I think most people in the industry really like. I'm sure there's some people who would maybe like a different style, but you are going to have an opportunity to work on projects all over this area. And again, you'll be staying within your local union's jurisdiction, so you won't be going typically anywhere super far out. But you could be, working in Rockford, you could be working in Rochelle, Freeport, Oregon, all the different communities in our area. And it's just going to be based on what your local union's jurisdiction is and where the projects are. Where are you going to be working on a wind turbine or a solar panel? Or are you going to be working on, City Hall downtown? Or it just depends on where the project is, where work is going on, which reflects a lot of trends and just general economic development, business and expansion and things of that nature. But that's what a lot of people in this industry really enjoy about it, is that they get to work on different projects, see, be part of create, I think of cool examples like the Nicholas Conservatory and really, big landmarks around our area. And you get to work on projects like that. And then, when you're done, you drive by it every day and say, hey, wow, I put the glass up, or I did the paving stones, or whatever it was. And so people take a lot of pride in that. So there's a lot of diversity in the work, but also where you get to work and the type of projects you work on.
Very helpful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you both very much. We've got about 1 more minute left here. Is there just one more thing you'd like to add about your apprenticeship programs and to let our students know about and the next steps in moving forward? Paul, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, and I'll just use this time to answer. I saw a question came up to the Zoom chat, and the question was essentially, how do I become a heavy equipment operator? Can I start at one? Do I have to be a laborer first? And no, you can get right into an apprenticeship program with the operating engineers. Local 150 is the union that I represent and work with. And again, that's just going to be, you'll want to look at their website. They have a great website for their apprenticeship information. You can figure out what their requirements is, when they take applications, all of those kind of things. So no, you can start right away in that trade, and you'll just want to figure out and understand that it's a competitive program, and a lot of people do want to do that. But if you have the wherewithal and you're dedicated, you can make it happen. You can get into that career or any of these careers and make it happen. So I just wanted to take the time to answer that question.
Thanks for that.
Thank you, Paul. I did not see that question, so I'm glad you did, because for some reason I did not see that. So just to reiterate the question one more time, is it was one of the goals after high school is to become a heavy equipment operator. Could I start out as one, or would I have to be a laborer first? So thank you for that, Paul. I'm glad you saw that. And if I know that, and I can put this out there as well, that I know you two would be very much available to our students if they have any questions after this panel, and any kind of follow-up as well. So Anissa, is there any questions by chance on the YouTube that I've not seen?
There are not that I see.
Okay, great. And thank you for that question from the student. We appreciate those questions as well. So Dutch, do you want to give us any one more last thought on RRVTMA?
Sure. If your students, encourage your teachers and your administrators to bring people in to talk to you about different opportunities. We have, what do I want to say? I've seen success happen when a company comes into a classroom more than once. They introduce themselves the first time, second time they actually introduce maybe a product that's getting made on the outside. Third time they come in, they're actually getting to know the students, and I've seen people get hired right from the classroom into a company. So I don't think it can't happen. I've seen people get hired after field trips. I had students that went to Dial Machine and came back and said, I really like that place. I mean, it was big equipment. It was exciting. They made wind turbine parts, diesel engine parts. They had some really nice pieces of equipment, huge equipment. The kid was impressed, and I just told him, did you talk to the owner that was giving you the tour? Guess what? He went and talked to the owner that gave him the tour, and he got a job. So, you know, beyond just getting the training in that, get out there and talk to people, learn stuff. You know, don't sit in the shell. Don't expect them to come knocking on your basement door while you're playing, you know, video games and offering a job. You're going to have to actually get out there and do something. So,
yeah.
You know.
Awesome. And I can't thank you guys enough for being on here with us. I appreciate your time. We appreciate you being live on YouTube. And if I have any questions that come, thank you to the students that are participating as well. And if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us directly here. It's jessica@alignmentrockford.com. I will gladly take any questions and make sure Paul and Dutch will get those for you and get them answered. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Anissa, for helping. We greatly appreciate it. And I hope you all have a good rest of your afternoon.